If you were to throw a handful of words into a hat and pull them out at random, you couldn't come up with a dumber headline than this. Philadelphia, keep that in mind, to pay $9.25 million to 343 George Floyd protesters for physical and emotional damage. Philadelphia, George Floyd, $9 million. That shakes out to just a shade under $27,000 per felon. Ah, boy. Hilarious. It just goes to show, man, there's a double standard that's out there. What are you going to do about it? Do you fight against it? It shouldn't be like this. It's exactly like this. And this is why there's nothing gained, nothing at all gained if you're going to go out there and you're going to riot for what you would deem to be a good and virtuous cause, because you're not going to be afforded the same treatment, okay? This is reserved for the special people. This is reserved for the downtrodden. Oh, you're out there fighting a noble cause. Oh, you're blocking highways. Oh, you're breaking windows. Oh, you're looting places. Here's your $27,000. We support racism. Black Lives Matter. Philadelphia has agreed to pay $9.25 million to more than 300 people who claimed that they suffered physical and emotional injuries during a violent protest following the death of George Floyd. Of course, photo from Emily at local WHYY, which is probably the most appropriate outlet that could be reporting on this, shows protesters gathered along the interstate 676 with traffic stopped and police arresting them. Dashcam footage was also released. City reportedly announced the details of the settlement in the class action lawsuit that focused on the events of May 31st and June 1st, 2020, according to New York Times. Plaintiffs involved are reportedly residents of West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground, and others who took part in the protest shutting down Interstate 676. Plaintiffs called for the police to be held accountable over the methods they used to clear protesters. Given how many there were, it probably would have been cheaper to just leave them in the middle of the interstate and just do some driving practice for the police department. Just saying, you can connect the dots like they would have skulls to grills. According to the report, the massive $9.25 million will be given out to a total of 343 plaintiffs although there is video evidence that suggests the authorities used tear gas and pepper spray on the protesters. Yeah, but some people were allergic to hot peppers, and that's the kind of pepper spray they were using. And rubber bullets are hurt too. Christ, I wish your, parents, not saying either of them, especially the 343 youths that were down there, somebody would have kept that same energy in regards to rubber back in the cut. This payment wouldn't be so terrible. Mental health counseling will apparently be made available to residents along the unspecified radius, not just the plaintiffs involved in the 2020 protest. Oh my God, just bitch-enforced policies here. Oh, you feel bad about George Floyd dying several states over, I guess, of a fentanyl overdose? Here, I'll just give you state-sanctioned brainwashing therapy. Additionally, the Times reported a grant of $500,000 to $600,000 to the Bread and Roses community. Bread and Roses, bread lines, and the socialist insignia of a rose. Are you fucking laughing at everybody? That will contribute to mental health counseling, of course. Philadelphia Mayor Jim Kenney chimed in on the issue, saying the pain and trauma calls to the legacy of systemic racism and police brutality against black and brown criminals. Philadelphians is immeasurable. So by paying off, because we can go and take a look at that picture that's up there. A lot of white people. But anyways, yeah, black and brown people, dying in other states, all that stuff, trying to pass a counterfeit bill, a felony or anything like that. We hope this settlement will provide some healing to the harm experienced by people in the neighborhoods in West Philadelphia, and during demonstrations on demonstrate. You were shutting down a fucking interstate, you stupid assholes, and then you get $27,000 out of it. Fuck, whatever George Soros was paying you to show up for that shit, and then now you're getting a paycheck cut by the government that is probably worth more than any of you motherfuckers have made it a job in your entire lives. Ugh, I don't even live in Philadelphia. I'm never going to Philadelphia. No offense to anybody watching from there, which I don't think anybody would. Maybe from Pennsylvania in general, but from Philadelphia, are you fucking stupid? Why are you still there? Yo, unless you're getting in on some of this grift, then you know what, hey man, do what you got to do, but this is ridiculous. However, Kenny did not appear to address the immense damage done to Philadelphia during that time. No, that was during the Summer of Love, baby. According to Philadelphia 10, or 10 Philadelphia for those who aren't dyslexic, there are 9 fires set on May 30th, and many locations were looted. Yeah, but those places have life insurance, right? Like them buildings got life insurance, but our peoples don't. We looted as a result of the so-called demonstrations. Yes, the fiery but mostly peaceful protests, but there were people sitting on like an interstate, and they could have got hit. Yeah, that's the point. The former Pennsylvania governor Tom Wolf, spit be upon his name, had suggested that the National Guard would have gotten involved. Yeah, they could have brought tanks and cleaned this up right nice here in West Philadelphia. Danielle Outlaw. What? Commissioner of the... You got an outlaw in charge of the police department. Don't you think the optics are just a bit off? Said that her department will continue to work nonstop towards improving what we as police officers do to protect First Amendment rights of protesters. Yes, protect their First Amendment rights as they burn down parts of your city, but make sure that they're properly financially compensated for any emotional damage that they would have gone through. How many of those people were actually arrested? Like, were all 400 or 343 of them? Nope, they were just part of a lawsuit. Very, very interesting. Okay, so they're all getting to 26,900 and change on top of that from the taxpayers of Philadelphia. Hardy fucking har. Bunch of fucking delinquents. A lot of whiteheads that are out there, but yeah. Systemic racism and shit. You know, that dumb broad wearing a fucking mask outside. Even in 2020, it was stupid, you idiot, but... yeah, they're getting paid off, but the people who are still being kept in prison, there's still people in jail over the insurrection, which we've seen time and time again. Like, even if you were watching the stuff at the time, realizing that, everybody who went and trespassed into the Capitol, their worst crime was moving the velvet rope out of the way in order to properly protest. And now we see the footage of the guided tour on top of all of the security cam footage that was coming out at the time, also showing the other police officers just come on, leave when we're telling you to. And trash bags they're not in that closet. They're in the next one, next hall over. Okay, yeah, just grab as many as you want. And if you guys want to clean up, that would be great. You'd be a big help for everybody. These motherfuckers, they aren't getting compensated for anything. They have felonies on their record that they got to plead down to. Over what? A big entrapment scheme, but biggest issue facing the American people since the Civil War. Fuck off. And supporters of then and hopefully future President Donald Trump swarmed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, forcing Congress to go into lockdown. And oh my God, AOC was basically accosted. I had to go hide in the bathroom across the street. It's fucking stupid. More than 1,000 people. 1,000 people have been arrested and charged with crimes, and we've seen all of them. From what exactly? Oh, right, you basically killed like 7 people. And then it came out that it was just one person that got killed that day, and that person never, ever charged with anything. Nothing at all whatsoever. Oh, she was definitely coming through that window, and she had a crazy look in her eyes. That's why I needed to bust a cap in her head. Thanks, Michael Bird. So glad that you didn't leave your service pistol on top of the urinal again. Fucking moron. The FBI is still seeking public's help to identify people who, left muddy footprints? Took part of one of the most documented crimes in U.S. history. You still need help some 3 years later? God, you guys suck at your job. Well, this is the feds after all. But since most rioters? Is anybody charged with rioting? Anybody plead down from rioting? What are we talking? We're allowed to walk free. That today it's taking years to track them down. Free, encouraged, led to whatever places they want to go. Can we update this, Insider? Come on now. Table includes names. Yeah, I got a table of all this shit of everybody that's down there. Okay, we're not going to go through all of them. Obviously, there's 1,000 people. At least 476 federally charged rioters. Just charged rioters, not charged with actual riot, charged with trespassing. entered guilty pleas. Yeah, to lesser charges. Bro, I'm so glad I've been following this the entire time, because Insider can just go ahead and publish all of this fucking nonsense. Number of people charged in the insurrection. How many actual charges of insurrection? There was the couple of show trials. There was the Oath Keepers founder, or whatever they call the leader of their goofy little treehouse. He was charged with suspicion to commit potentially insurrection at some indeterminate amount of time. I think that was the official charge, right? I think that's on the charging document. But outside of that, one, maybe two people, but violent, riotous insurrection, of course. But remember, in Philadelphia, peaceful protesters, they get $27,000. The rest of these guys got 3 square meals and a fucking cot. But yo, man, getting mad at this shit, it's just a big fucking waste of time, man. The people that claim to be fighting against the system get compensated for their state-endorsed, corporate-endorsed activism. Well, at the same time, these guys get thrown behind bars because they're actually actively voicing and protesting against a corrupt system. Are there any pretenses left? Do we know exactly what's going on? Yeah, I think we all do at this point in time. So without further ado, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.